Since we've set up our liquor distillery in New York City, I think the natural progression is to get this fruit estate plugged in. As you should remember, we had given a bunch of people some raises or added funds to the coffer in order for better training. So it kind of hit our weekly. So we just need to make up for it with some more express lines. Now with this overlay, we could see like what's going on in terms of passengers. For each city, the number of travelers per week and their train usage is displayed. Move the cursor over a city to get information about the destinations of the travelers. Now, it seems that we have an issue in Portland, but still not gonna worry about that right now. In the name of meeting our task, in 5 years, let's add a couple more express lines. Let's say Washington to Albany by the way of, let's see, as you can see from Washington, there's a great amount of people who want to go other places that we don't have in our network as yet, particularly Charlottesville, which is pretty simple to get to. And Portland, nobody wants to go to Boston from Portland. They do want to go to Albany. So we could set up another train to Albany. Let's see what else is going on. Maybe, I'm guessing that the trend will continue. People want to go to Albany from each city directly instead of by the way of. Bangor. Not that many people want to go to Albany. Quebec. Understandably, they want to go to Montreal. We could add Montreal. That's pretty simple. So we could actually add Montreal and Charlottesville to the network today. But let's start by plugging Albany in where they are requested. Albany. Don't really know what's in Albany that people are going crazy over, but they must want that beer. 36 days to get to Albany from Portland. The Crow flies, I'm guessing the Crow would fly probably like 20 days. Express 34 days. We'll improve it once we get better trains. 34 days. And one from Boston to Albany. Express 27 days. And a warehouse in New York City would be ideal, so we can get the beer and the liquor here. At the very least. Let's get some apples, some milk, some sugar, and logs. We should actually collect corn. You shouldn't be without water. We have too much money for you to be suffering. So the task list today is connecting the fruits to New York City, connecting Charlottesville to our network, and connecting Montreal to Quebec City. After which, we'll set up some more express lines. I will actually venture a little further and connect Syracuse so let's do Syracuse first. We'll do Syracuse. We'll do 2 lines to Ottawa and 2 lines to Montreal. Given that we'll be bringing them from that direction, we don't really need to focus on this direction. We just need the exit to be going along this island or this landmass instead of having to cross the river to go to Buffalo. So we'll do something like this, because we have 6 lines, 4 lines going down this way and only 2 going this way. So we just need to clear this building. As long as we clear this building, we should be okay. There. Now, if you're so inclined, since we're adding a piece of line that isn't part of the network, it won't stop progress. We could just let the time run and money accumulate in the meantime. So this would be great if we could get it to be a 6-line gridiron, but it's actually going to be really difficult to pull that off. Let's try. we're already almost maxed out by this distance. Now one more. Let's see. See? We still need more of a runway for it to work. So now we'll have to adjust again. Let's try to find the right adjustment by connecting these farms first. So from here, we'll be doing 2 to Ottawa and 2 to Montreal. We could do the other 2 to this milk farm and run it across here. However, if you notice it, there's a giant mountain. We'd have to figure out how we could get it to be juxtaposed there. The easier route would be to go straight here and go across here. Well, that's 2 bridges and it's gonna be too expensive. So the best route would be across here. So let's see, how will we manage that? We want to get both of those farms. I think this should work. Alright, so 2 should be going that way. So the first 2 new ones should be coming down here to you. Or should they actually be going here? Just depends. Let's do it this way first. As long as we could get a gridiron, which is gonna be difficult given that we have one of these. So we'll have to let's see. We'll probably have to split it 2 this way and the gridiron coming afterwards. However, given that we're thinking about a gridiron, let's actually just solve the issue immediately. Since we're gonna use a gridiron gang, and we know we're gonna need at least 2 train stations in length apart, the harder part will be getting the turn to go around this clay mine or quarry and go this way. Knowing that we know the space that we'll need, or a guesstimate of it, we could just place it somewhere here and set the runways of 6. Good iron. Good. Our estimate was correct. And then in terms of lands like these, it's easy to connect another farm because it doesn't have a restriction on it. Not like a city would. As you know, you can't connect two cities at the same time. You have to do one at a time. But when it comes to farms, they're like, have at it. So let's try to get it as far as possible. And then connect it here. Since it's a farm, we don't need to worry about making it efficient as possible, whereas we need a whole tunnel. However, we seem to need a tunnel. $200,000 to get something like milk plugged in. It doesn't really compute. Let's see if we could find another way to cheese it in. As long as we stay out here. We're riding the edge of the riverbank. We're still on the granite rock, so we're solid. We're not bringing in any material. We're cutting away, which makes it cheaper. % max. 0. I like this. I really like this. I think this works perfectly. 57K. It used to be 200K. And that's how you cheese it in. It's just a farm. We're never gonna be going through it to go somewhere else. Knock on wood. We don't even need 2 lines out here, to be honest with you. But let's do that. And let's connect this line with one of these cheese lines. Whereas you'd have a second direction line that 2 trains could be either pulling in or pulling out without it being 2 lines out here, because it's not really necessary. Conversely, we could do something like this, whereas 2 lines could work, but they converge in the middle across this expensive portion. Do we need to? Absolutely not. Would it make a difference if we just connected the 2 lines right here? Probably not. should we just do it that way? I would say so. Let's see how expensive this one is, because we're further out on the bank end. But it works. $60K. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. Now we just need to connect Syracuse so we can get working on Montreal. Now we could go directly to Montreal, we could go directly to Albany, or we could connect by the way of Martin Terminal. In the essence of what seems to be going on here, we would be better suited to connect two lines to okay, I see what's going on here. You're trying to trick me, aren't you? So it would be better suited for us to connect two lines to Martin Terminal, and then the other, I would say the other four, to Syracuse. However, we can also do two directly toward Terminal en route to Montreal or Ottawa. ¿Entendió? So we're giving people the option of skipping certain rail lines, skipping certain stations, because you should never have more than 2 stations between a destination. It would be better suited if you were to be doing that to put a hotel at one of these rural stations so people would transfer over to the next train on their way to their destination. As you can see, we're in quite a conundrum here. But first things first is trying to get this to be at least a 6. Let's put 2. I'm telling you, it probably won't work. But by what I'm seeing, it might not work. See, the thing is, we have only a limited amount of space here. We gotta put 2 train terminals. We gotta put 1 here and then 1 here. That's how long it needs to be in order for it to work properly. Now, can we just put a tunnel through here? Great. Quantum Resist Charter, full steam ahead. The Dunham reached 43 kilometers an hour. Ideally, I would say, like, for future, what we'd want to do later on when we get that bag is connect directly through here. The game will say potentially that we can't build a tunnel that long. However, in this case, we're fine. So, we could have built a tunnel going directly to Albany, and that's really close to half the distance the crow would fly to get to Syracuse. But if you're gonna go there, you might as well go here and have them split across right here like a giant highway. But if you were to do that as well, then you might as well go right here and then split across, because you don't want to have 4 bridges across the river. So you have to consider those things, and we could just say, let's just table it until later. For now, we just need to make sure to get connected. And still, it would be better to connect only 2 into here. We don't even need it. But let's just entertain the thought for a second. Since this is the furthest line on the inside, we're connected to the wrong one. We should be connected over here. And as long as we still have max speed, we should be okay. And that's just 99k, which isn't that bad. Build it. Build it. And now we have the potential to come somewhere here, connect to that, come somewhere here and connect to that. It ends up being an 8-lane or 6-lane line just by default, but since we've already set up the infrastructure, it's cheaper. You feel me? Because you and I know what's really going on. And so these 2 first rails are connected to Syracuse, and then the other 3 are doing the same. Why is this line slower than the other ones? Is it a bug? Unlocked? Look. Now it's fine. It's not really a bug per se, but you know, it gave it a little bit more space so you could have a better angle, which works for me. And then 2, go down toward terminal. I wish this was how it worked, but it won't happen. That's what you call cheesing it in. Entendió? Now, this one goes to here. We're certainly not doing that. B to build. And then these next 4 lines go directly. We could do it something like this. Use the infrastructure that's already designed and then turn it out here. Don't like it at all, but I feel like in this case we're in a depression and somewhat of a swamp right here. Given that it's surrounded by water, it's safe to assume that this in real life is some type of wetland that's inhabitable. So it makes sense that it would be packed with rock in order for us to have a whole train system on it. Wow, you see our money just disappear? Well, that's what infrastructure is. That's how it works. It's very expensive to make updates to your line. That's why you try to do it all in one if possible. But the real expense is the actual extra terminals, not necessarily the train line itself. So now they come into Syracuse and they have the option of going to Albany, Martin Terminal, Ward Terminal, and by the way of Ward Terminal, they can go to Ottawa and Montreal. Of course, we're broke now, so we can't actually fulfill our goal just yet. So we should use this remaining cash to get some trains going for what we already have going on. So given that there's cheese because of this milk being here, in so close to Syracuse and Albany, one of these guys have to become a cheese manufacturer at some point, a cheese producer. Given that this Albany has already chosen its own route of being cloth, let's just cheese it in, pun intended, for Syracuse to start developing or producing cheese the next time it decides to grow. They have grain, they have corn, they need logs, meat, sugar, and cloth. We can choose to go through Jackson Station directly to Syracuse as well. Or we could just have them connect to Buffalo, and then whatever Buffalo gets goes to Syracuse by the way of Buffalo. But in the name of getting some extra cash, let's connect Charlottesville to our network. I'm expecting it to be somewhat similar to Washington in terms of it being a hub. So I'm going to try to just guesstimate the necessary length for an 8-lane gridiron. We already have one here, so we might as well update this line to come down here as well. So let's take a look. We have 2 lanes going to this rural farm, which eventually is going to be turning into 4 lanes here, for 2 to go down to Norfolk, and then keeping 2 lanes going through to this rural farm of where logs are located. Then we'd have 2 more lines available, so this would make it 4. The 4 gets split up over here. 2 are available, which should be going to Charlotte. However, given the distance the crow flies, we could just send 2 directly to Durham. That's for the express line. And it's just in the name of preparing for later. We think about it now. Let's see how many we could do. Let's keep it going so our money accumulates still. The downside to this is that we're not actually progressing ourselves when we do it this way. We're just making lines and then the time passes and then we fail our task. Given that our next task is, or one of our next tasks is literally getting more trains in the network, I think we should just continue setting up lines. And like I was mentioning, we have 2 more lines available, but they're too expensive right now. So we could just do the 2 lines that go directly to here. And of course, we're not going to actually go directly to it. What we just want to have it where the turns aren't as drastic anymore. And now we do these 2 external lines that go here. Now, ain't that better? Ain't that better? Now we're nicely prepared for the future when we get that extra bag to go directly to Durham and deliver 100 loads of cloth to Durham pretty easily, right? But now we need to get some trains in. Let's get some grease. Wow, we gotta choose between grease and parcel drops. As an engineer, we have to prioritize our trains before we think about gains. It's just how this is how the game goes, you know? We also have to connect the fruits to New York, and we have to connect Montreal to the network before this episode ends. So let's get a move on, shall we? So Buffalo is offering some money to get in on this, but we're not really worried about Buffalo. So remember, if you press Alt on your keyboard, you'll be able to see the directional paths of your lines, your rail lines. So instead of going up here and then clicking here, you just hit Alt and they pop in. Given that we've added 2 more lines, 3 more, we'll bring them down to the current gridiron so we can have more stations, more platforms for the trains to split off into as soon as they pass this line. And this is why we prepared for this from the start. See? Boom. There are bottlenecks, sure. We only have 2 lines here. But as you know, that's relatively easy to connect them. We could connect them either directly or just run these extra lines to the station over here that we'll be building, and then have them by the way of whatever station this is. Okay? And now to set up the directional path for this soup, if you will. Okay. The convention stays the same as what it is right here. This is 2 extra lines. So this one goes this way. I don't like it. See, the thing is, it flips over when it goes through this loop here. So if it should be correct, then it should be this way throughout here, whereas the outer lines are going in opposite direction and the inner lines are actually connected. Okay. Charlottesville is connected. Washington needs to get their express trains. We need some water stations, but let's get some trains in first. Charlottesville to Washington. Yeah, sure. Let's get a Dunham. We should probably get a John Bull, because it's not that bad. And then make it express. Confirm. Copy line. Get a John Bull. Flip it. And keep it going. Then Albany's falling apart. Before we worry about Albany, let's get a new line that goes from Syracuse to Albany. Let's keep this one as a mixed for now, so a faster mixed train. 11 days. Let's connect this line. It doesn't have any gridirons, so it won't work. Again, this line. See if it works now. If we select here, yes, we could get to Syracuse. Let's keep this one as freight.